new that have never been done before.
We the people tell the government what to do. It doesn't tell us. We the people are the driver. The government is the car. And we decide where it should go and by what route to do. We the people are free. And I hope we have once again reminded people that man is not free unless government is limited.
Well, howdy, folks. How are you? Hope life, the universe, and everything goes well. Doing the show from a different location tonight. So I hope the sound's all right. Let me know in the chat, which I better flick over to if I'm going to be able to see what you're saying. And if it's not, I'll see what I can do to fix it. Hope you're well. And the last few days have treated you okay. Can I tell you, folks, there is fuckery afoot. I was going to start tonight by talking about the Shumann Resonance. If you don't know about the Shumann Resonance, go and look it up. But the Shumann Resonance is a very real thing, and it comes from Mother Nature, the Earth herself. Now, a Shumann Resonance burst was captured recently, right after the Colombian earthquake a few days ago. And it was an all-frequency burst, very strong burst that encompassed, as I say, all frequencies, all people. The Shumann Resonance is meant to elicit a feeling of goodness, a feeling of safety, a feeling of everything will be okay in people. And you feel that from Mother Nature herself. Now, there was an awful lot of graphs I could have shown you and pointed out the resonance, and you can go and find it for yourself. However, I watched that and learned about the Shumann Resonance very early this morning, and I'll be frank with you. The rest of the day hasn't gone on what you would call a, lifted frequency feeling or a lifted frequency vibe. It's been nothing, absolutely nothing like it. In fact, it's been absolutely opposite. And there is fuckery afoot everywhere. It's not just with me, it is with others as well. And it comes down to honor. I accept some people are less intelligent. I'm not going to call them stupid. I'm not going to call them dumb. They are just less intelligent. And by intelligent, I mean they are less able to identify or critically identify and critically analyze information that is right in front of their eyes. That is for a variety of reasons, and we all know people like that. We live and work with them every day. However, there are certain groups, as we all know, the Freemason filth, I would say, lead the pack because they are insidious. They are everywhere and they hide. And they like to use little cowardly tactics to attack people. And that comes in a variety of different ways. It also comes to people who are trying to do the right thing by others. I would hope I've done enough, and those of you that know me personally have a pretty good insight into who I am. I am who you see here. Occasionally, when you see me get angry here, you don't really want to be in the room with me getting angry, okay? I have a way of emptying a room like that, and you feel that. That's why a lot of you get quite excited about it when I get angry, because you feel that same visceral anger that I feel. Now, that's because we're hooked up on a frequency level. That's because we are aware of what's going on, and that's because we are highly motivated to do something about it. So when the filth emerge in our day, and they do what they can to screw us around, do a variety of things that are all ordained to undermine good and to proffer particularly themselves, because selfishness plays a huge role in these Freemasons worlds, along with being able to keep a secret, and come across a few recently that can't. I don't know how they go back to their next little one leg up, sock around hop and in good faith after the oath they've taken, go back and mingle with their fellow filth and can get away without having their throat cut, given the oath they've taken. You know, there are many of them out there talking. Many of them. And they speak in a way that is scoffing, that is elitist, that is seditious, is low. These are low people. I personally know a few so low they could parachute out of a snake's arsehole and still free fall. But that is the mark of a good Masonic filth member. And they like to play games. So games shall be played. Infiltration in our freedom movement comes in many forms. The Masonic filth are a large part of it. But also, there are very genuine people who are deeply invested in their ideas about how we move forward, how we advance ourselves out of this existence, this slavery, and into what has been promised to us now for those of us that are awake for some time. And I know the impatience level is certainly rising. It is with us all. But there are signs that the world is not as it normally is. And tonight, we're going to talk about a few of those things. Pardon me. For instance, why is gold going down and silver going up? But we'll get to that shortly. There are people who, as I say, are not very smart. They may have good intentions, but because their smarts let them down, or their overconfidence, their pride, their pride maybe, they get overconfident and make mistakes, and they expose themselves. Now, a number of people have done that recently, and it's, I guess, not surprising. It's just really disappointing. And how have they done it? Well, it has a lot to do with the document that Tim Dwyer presented a couple of weeks ago to nearly 1,000 people in a Zoom room, some of them fairly serious trolls, others very serious people who have spent a lot of time, a lot of effort researching their positions on the Australian Constitution and where we can go going forward. And then we had a lot of other interested people who had little bits and pieces of an idea that, or a way that they could see forward, and who all wanted to put a little piece forward. Tim was pretty open and honest in what he said about everything. He presented his plan in good faith and threw it open to be torn apart by many, and it was torn apart, but not in any great detail because there wasn't much to tear apart. Mostly there was a lot of agreement. But then little birds start talking. So I would urge you tomorrow night, folks, to be part of Tim Dwyer's third show regarding a solution for this country going forward. I would urge you strongly to get that link. And you can email Tim at tim@ouraustralia.com.au. I'm pretty sure it is. And Our True Australia, I beg your pardon, ourtrueaustralia.com.au. And if you email him, he'll send you a link and you can be part of the room again tomorrow night. There'll be over 1,000 people in that room. And I think it'll be an eye-opener. It's sad that we have to have this kind of an eye-opener, but it will show the selfishness, the jealousy, the ability to set up secret agendas and try and usurp an idea that looks, for all the money, like it is a great beginning. It's just disappointing that there are those amongst us who feel their egos are more important. I'll leave it there. There's more I could say, but I might get a little disjointed. I should say hello to a few people. I did pick up a few things in the chat before we came on, and Shane was one of the big things early. Thank you, mate. Yep, hit the like button and the subscribe button if you would, folks. You know, we've nearly, when I say nearly, I mean we have really nearly hit that target of, I think it's 11,000 we're looking for, so on the VOF channel. So if you are watching the YouTube VOF channel and you haven't subscribed yet, please do. I think we are less than 20 away from it, I think. So it'd be really cool just to hit it, because it's taken forever to get from, I think it was 10,650 something. We stayed on that number for 3-4 years. And yeah, because YouTube didn't allow people to subscribe to the channel for so long. So like and subscribe if you would, folks. Look forward to it. Trust me, you will get some value out of it, even if it's only a laugh out of me because you think I'm a dickhead. But I'm good at that. It's 40 years on radio. I proved probably in many cases that I was. Boom shakalakering his way into the room was what the. Love that. Tony. I put you up for a reason. And I'm just going to find that reason. There is the reason. Ta-da! There you are, folks. Tony. What a marvelous man he is. He is wearing his brand new Voice of Freedom hoodie. Thank you, brother. Really appreciate you putting your hand in your pocket for that. And it only arrived today. So he was going to send me another one. He may have, and I just didn't download the right one, where the actual logo is the right direction. So rest assured, the logo is the right direction when you've got your hoodie on. You can go to merch.vofhq.com if you'd like one of those hoodies, or we do have t-shirts, which are really handy under the hoodies, and not a bad nightshirt at the moment. But at the moment, the way the Australian government is charging us fees for this, fees for that, and it's not just the Australian government, it's every aspect of the corporates and every aspect of the banks and every council everywhere. Australia is the land of the fee. Show you've had enough of it and get one of our shirts at merch.vofhq.com. We could really use the support, I can tell you. And more so probably coming up very, very soon. So, yeah. Aussie Sue, love your work. Hello to all our moderators. Sunflower and the lovely Michelle in the room too. Davo is floating around. We will talk a bit about Newsom. He's pleaded with the LA riots, insurrection by the undocumented. Oh, well, this appears to be what's going on in Los Angeles. It appears that it's pretty much overrun by illegals. There are a number of illegals, obviously, working, and these are people who have been ordered back after Trump and the courts determined that they couldn't stay in the country, and they were given X amount of time to evacuate or get themselves out, self-deport, if you like. But if they've stayed on, if they've still got their job, then yes, they are criminals. The evidence of the criminality and, of course, the money, like Soros has been ploughing into the democratic state of California for years, is now evident on the streets with the same people who turned out for Antifa and Black Lives Matter on the streets rioting. You're not seeing huge, great crowds. What you are seeing is small groups of people setting things on fire and throwing shit and carrying on like pork chops. And when I say a small group, it's less than 10,000. It's less, I think, than 1,000 people in a city of 34 million. I think Los Angeles has. So this is a very, very small but vocal minority who are standing up. It's not like all Los Angelians, is that a word, stepping out and doing this. They are not. In fact, I'm sure they're behind the police force that are trying valiantly, in this case, to try and maintain order. However, the police force does seem to be making one or two mistakes in that regard, and I think those mistakes are probably best showcased by this reporter from Channel 9, who you've all probably seen. Where have I got it? There it is. This girl here. She's reporting on the riots. To me, it looked like there was more police and more media than there were rioters at that stage, but I didn't see too much of it. All I saw was this bit where she got shot. Now, I could play the video. Maybe some of you, like me, don't really watch mainstream media, so I'm pretty sure I loaded up. Have a look at this. Yeah, so the cameraman was pretty good there. You shot the fucking journalist. But, yeah, she copped a round in the back of the leg. Now, I got an email today from Patrick, who wanted to point out he thought this might have been a bit of a setup, that she was shot with a 40 mil launcher, being one of those, and that is the kind of round that launcher uses. And he is quite correct in his email when he said to me that that's a solid chunk of rubber to get hit with. It is. And they do have solid chunk of rubber rounds. However, I'm pretty confident they weren't using those rounds. They were using these ones. These are Stinger rounds, and these are what are commonly deployed in those sorts of riot situations. The big heavy ones are usually only deployed against people who have some sort of shielding or barrier, because they do carry an awful lot of force behind them, and those shields or barriers supposedly will break or crack, or it'll go through them and hit whoever's behind them or whatever. These, on the other hand, are designed to hit you and hurt like buggery. They're a little under, can I say? They're maybe 1.2, 1.5 centimeters in diameter. They are a hard rubber round. And if you get hit, every one of those canisters, I think, has 9 or 10 of them in there. And obviously, when they're shot out, they spray out like a shotgun. And if you happen to be in the field, then you're going to cop one, maybe. I'm sure it'll leave a hell of a bruise. If you're standing really close, probably do you some damage. If it hit you in a fine bone, like your fingers, back of your hand, or a thin boned area. If you were close enough and got hit in the head with one, yes, I think it could do you some serious damage, certainly take out an eye. The police, it's my understanding, are only meant to fire those weapons at people's legs or, below waist height. They're not allowed to fire them, at chest height or head height. However, I also know, and you can see it in plenty of footage that was shot in Victoria during that time where the coppers were using those rounds on the people on the streets of Melbourne, that what they were doing was firing them into the ground and bouncing them into the oncoming protesters. So I'm assuming that would take a little bit of the oomph out of them, but it was more like a half volley rather than a bouncer that they were firing them at. So, yeah, they hurt a lot and are commonly used in riot control. Those heavier slugs, I believe, can be used in prisons. If you're one of those blokes that's hanging on a wall in prison and doesn't want to come out of your room, then yes, you can wind up having one of those things strike you where it's none too pleasant. And there's plenty of none too pleasant places. How about the price of silver? I mean, I've got to say, $56.17. Now, when I put the show up, I want to say it was at $56.09. So it's gone up in a couple of hours since then, and it was higher today. I saw it close to 56.5. at one stage. So for those of you who bought your silver when we first started talking about it, and Ainsley Bullion got behind the Voice of Freedom, then you got to be pretty happy with that increase. And even if you only bought at $48 or $49 right now, you're doing pretty well. Now, gold earlier today was down back under the $5,100 mark. That's had a bit of a kick again this afternoon. It's gone to 5,122.5. So, and that's probably going to get another kick, I would say, by tomorrow. The gold silver index, the ratio that we always keep talking about, that's in the right hand corner there beside the Australian dollar bit, and it's at 91.19. Now, if you've been following that on the show recently, you'll understand that that is seriously coming down. It wasn't all that long ago that it was like over 110 to 1. So yeah, 91 to 19. I think we're doing pretty good and heading in the right direction, folks. We want that number to come down, and the magic number for it to come down to, from memory, is 50. So we're still a fair way off getting too excited about it, but certainly silver going in the right direction. And if I were you and had the ability to do it, I'd be sneaking in and buying a little bit of it now. Okay, it might drop again tomorrow, it might go down again, but if you watch the trend, people who bought in January, I forget now the exact figure that Michael or Cass or one of us worked out, there has been something like a 14% increase in your wealth if you bought in January, and it might be more than that now, I would say. So congratulations if you got involved, and don't forget, mention Voice of Freedom or my name if you're buying at ainsleyBullion.com.au, and you can do that in the notes section and you'll get a little discount. Or if you're going in store in Melbourne or in Brisbane, Vegas, and very shortly on the Gold Coast, then why not avail yourself of the little discount? They're a great bunch of people, a wonderful family company, and been around for over 50 years now. So love them dearly. All right, folks, what's going on in the world? There's more bangs than a brothel on a Saturday night at the moment, isn't there? What's happened in Russia and Ukraine? Anybody seen anything there? Because I certainly haven't. Mind you, I've had a few other influencing factors over the last few days. So, and we will get into that in another show, trust me. And we will talk about honor and loyalty and those not very intelligent people who sadly are easily led. We will get into that at another time. The big bangs that are going on. Well, aside from anything that may or may not be happening in Russia and Ukraine, there has been a lot of activity on a global scale when it comes to volcanoes, earthquakes, landslides, and not just a landslide, but mountains falling off the Swiss Alps. Mountaintops falling off the Swiss Alps. There are now 3 they're concerned about. Well, one has come down and destroyed the town of Blatten, which mainstream media have only just cottoned onto. That town now is almost completely obliterated. It's formed a bit of a lake over the debris field. Most of the houses now, I think, are gone completely, and the river is washing a lot of the debris down the river, where it's running into a dam wall and being sort of the heavy stuff is being sorted out, and the silted water, which can't be used in the hydropower unit in that particular dam, is just being let further down. So a little bit of flooding further down. But you can see here, around the world at the moment, it's not landslides that we're talking about, it's volcanoes and volcanic action. Now, I can take you to a rather interesting site. This is, can I take you to this rather interesting site? I'm trying. This rather interesting site doesn't seem to want to load up the way rather interesting sites should. Oh, there we are. All right, let me see if I can swap this around to that one. Yeah, that's gone well. Click and tab, and right, I'll add that. Okay. Oh, right. I'll take that one down, and now I'll add that. That'll make life easier. All right, you might have to blow this up on your TV or whatever you're doing. This is a little bit of a map from the USGS. Now, this represents every earthquake that's happened in the last 24 hours. Now, I'll just zoom in here for a moment into the North American continent, South America, and Mexico. Particularly the ones to really watch. This one here, just offshore. Now, this was a fairly little tremor, 3.1, 77 k's off the coast. This one a lot closer, 15 k's off the coast, but it was also a much smaller tremor at 2.5. There is a fault line that goes down, well, there are a number of fault lines that go down through California, and you can see the trigger points along that fault line. Now, Los Angeles had one just the other day. Now, these all happened in the last, like I say, 24 hours. This was a depth of 15 kilometers, quite shallow, 2.5. Now, Los Angeles gets rocked around all the time, no problems. But what has changed? Well, it's probably easier if I scroll back out a bit, have a look at what's happening in Texas. Now, they too are having tremors. This one, very shallow, 7.8 kilometers and 3.1. And then a cluster of them here in New Mexico around, or not far from the White Sands test base. This one, 6.9 k's down at 3.7. These to me, because this is all way out in the middle of nowhere, 2.5, 5 k's down, 2.5, 7 k's down. These are little cluster tremors, which people who know a lot more about this sort of stuff are more worried about than obviously those people living in that area. They say it contributes to what's going to happen around California and the San Andreas Fault area. Now, in Guatemala, there are a couple of volcanoes happening there, and we'll get to there very shortly too. But these quakes are very deep and of a 4+ magnitude. So this one's over 65 kilometers down. However, as the crow flies, it's less than a couple of 100 kilometers from active volcanoes. And those active volcanoes are what we'll have a little bit of a look at now. So if we zoom in, you get a bit of a look at just the cluster of volcanoes that there are in the South American and a Central American continent. If we go in a little, wrong one, going to Volcanoes Colombia. Now, the volcano that you see here to the left of Bogota has become more active since Monday, when there was a fairly sizable earthquake that I mentioned earlier to the right of Bogota. Now, as the crow flies, I think it was a bit over 100 kilometers. But what happened is that earthquake is separated from Bogota city by a mountain range. And apparently there was some dampening of the effect as it got through into Bogota, and so it didn't kill anybody, as near as we can figure. Nobody got hurt, but some buildings did struggle. Now, that earthquake came to life. The volcano has been bubbling away quietly. It has lifted its intensity since then, obviously. If you go a little further north up into Central America, there are some very large volcanic actions happening in Guatemala and another one down near El Salvador. So those eruptions are causing significant earth tremors, and there is smoke, lava, a lot of ash. But I actually have a friend who I've sent a message to in Guatemala, and I'm hoping to hear back from him in the next 24 hours or so to find out just how serious things are. But the entire Pacific Rim is alight. I mean, just have a look at it. And what should we be worried about? Well, let's just take a bit of a look here around Australia. Now, clearly, Indonesia, New Guinea, the Solomons, and Tonga, and of course New Zealand have all got some pretty active volcanoes. We have either extinct or dormant volcanoes in Australia, particularly in southwest Victoria. I grew up around a number of them, and our little town, Mortlake, had Mount Shadwell, which was an extinct volcano, and I rode into that crater on my motorbike on more than one occasion. Rode around it. There was an old motorcycle racetrack there as well. Grew up with my grandparents living on the side of Tower Hill, not far from Warrnambool, between Warrnambool and Port Fairy. Went to school in my younger days over to a TAFE college, meaning I had to go past Mount Noorat, which was another volcano, and then of course used to play cricket all the way down through Camperdown, where there is another volcano, and to Colac, where there is a lake. And Lake Corangamite, I think from memory it's called, in Colac, is a pretty big lake. It's also a super volcano. Now, dormant, extinct. Well, they say if it's all full of water and it's all plugged up, then it's, not smoking anywhere, and there's been no signatures of heat or gases released from it or anything like that, it's all good. So we have nothing to worry about. But keep an eye out for those sorts of things if you happen to live in those areas. I don't know that we're going to have too many issues, but it may happen that we get impacted by some of these volcanoes further north of us. Now, there has been volcanic action in New Guinea recently, just a little heightened. You wouldn't call it eruptions exactly, but ejections maybe, that might be the way to call it. And in Bali, fun for folks going there. So there are actually 4 volcanoes loosely spread across, I don't know how far, probably a couple of thousand kilometers of the Indonesian archipelago. But there are 2 particularly that are associated with Bali, and you can see them there. One of those has been quite active in the last few days, not enough to stop air traffic or your holidays or anything like that, but it has kicked off. And like we say, always, all of that forms part of what is the Pacific Rim of Fire. Now, if that doesn't look like a Pacific Rim of Fire to you, please explain to me how, and let me know why I shouldn't be calling it that. Because if I am misnaming it, God help me, that's the last thing that I want to do. Moving on from those sorts of big bangs, there are other big bangs happening more close to home here in Australia than any of us will like. And I warn you now, I'm going to show you some pictures here, one picture in particular, that is extremely distressing. It won't be the next picture I show, it'll be the one after it. But if you are a koala lover, if you are an animal lover, you will find this picture extremely distressing. So I warn you, if you don't want to see that, look away. These bastards. The people that put up these monstrosities in this country, the people that inflict us with wind turbines that don't work, are not efficient in any way, shape or form, and cannot survive without subsidies that we the people make and give our hard-earned cash to the government so that they can give it to these thieves, I'm going to call them, because they are delivering projects which do not work. They are putting in infrastructure which is not just unsightly, but has deep effects physically on people, mentally on people and animals, and ultimately costs us more money than they are worth. What I would like to know tonight is, where is the World Wildlife Fund? Where is the RSPCA? Where are all the Greens? Because when these companies awarded these contracts to go in and put up those piles of shit in our paddocks that scare the cows, give people headaches, give people mental health issues, only work in certain conditions, and then only work in a pretty measly kind of way by way of contribution to our overall supply requirements, and can't survive without government funding. What do these people do when they move onto a piece of land and start installing these monstrosities? Well, they have to kill everything on the land. That includes koalas. Where is the World Wildlife Fund? Where is Bindi Irwin and her brother? Where is the UN? Where are the Greens? These koalas were murdered on a site so that a windmill could be put up. A windmill. Now, there's well over 10, I suspect, because there's a couple of layers of them. I suspect there's much closer to 20, possibly more, dead koalas. Now, these koalas would have either been in the trees when they were pushed down, or they would have been shot from the trees before the trees were pushed down. Where is any of our protection agencies on this subject? Where is Bindi Irwin? Why isn't Australia's Zoo publicly reaching out with their TV contacts and putting that on Sunrise and on Today and on Sky News? Feel free, take screenshots, send them, put them in touch with me. I'll send them the pictures, give them the location. It is disgusting that corporations can get away with murdering an endangered, protected national treasure. I'm shocked and disgusted that these people can get licenses to build a Lego house, let alone a friggin' windmill. Clearly, the destruction of the fauna is okay. Local governments who will come in and tell you you've got to close a gap that friggin' big under your pool fence because somebody might climb under it, have nothing to say about the murder of koalas inside their own area of regard. State authorities dead silent on the fact that koalas are being murdered. God knows how many of them, and God knows how many other native species. Birds, snakes, lizards. How many cassowary? Because far north Queensland's full of those fans. And they're putting more in all the time. Thank you, Twiggy Forrest, I think, is responsible for most of that. And yes, they have cleared a lot of land on the ranges between Townsville and Cairns, I think. And further north again, I remember seeing as we went up to the Palmer. So they're everywhere. Blights on our country. And bloodsuckers on humanity, the people that own these businesses, who could not survive without the subsidies we unwillingly are forced to pay them. Please reach out to Bindi Irwin and share this picture because it is horrific. You know who's next to go in that hole, folks? very sadly, it'll be somebody, likely somebody you know. Welcome to what's coming next. This is next spike. Now, I didn't believe this when I first saw it, but it's true. And the Latin nex, if you type nex into an English Latin converter, have a look at what you come up with. An unnatural, especially violent death. And spike, nex spike. Now, given all the bullshit going around in the world about that spike, protein, I mean, I find that incredulous and difficult to believe that anybody could be so stupid. But apparently this is a real thing, and what you will be asked to get jabbed with in the very near future. Now, of course, I know all of you are not going to be doing any of that. What do we do for those folks who maybe bit the bullet the first time and got jabbed the first, second, maybe third, possibly fourth time? I don't think anybody past 2 is going to come back our side. I think everybody who has had 2 and no more than 2 are waking up, and they feel pretty bad about it. They feel pretty bad about it. Can be very confronting and difficult the deeper you go into what potentially the ramifications for this are. However, coercion was a thing, and a lot of people were coerced and did so at great psychological loss to themselves. I hope that they get the opportunity to get some compensation for that. Although it's not likely, given that in Queensland they are destroying all of the samples that were taken from people during the spicy cough years. They've said they've held them long enough; they're no longer needed. What they are doing is destroying evidence, and it's very difficult. And they have yet to be able to get an injunction to stop them destroying this evidence. They have hundreds of thousands of samples of Queenslanders and the results of testing of all sorts of different things. And a lot of it obviously proves everything we, the conspiracy theorists, have been saying for God knows how long. This evidence is being destroyed. Those public servants in the bureaucracy doing it are knowingly destroying evidence. Now, they're going to plead, I was just doing what I was told. You know, my boss told me to do it, so I had to do it. So I've got to keep my job. That's the same reason they held their arm out and then encouraged so many others, or coerced so many others to do that as well. So they're copping a little bit of their own at the moment. But I'm very concerned going forward about how this is going to be presented. But maybe going forward, we won't need to worry. Another burst of energy coming from the sun this week is expected to be aimed at us, and it'll interrupt all sorts of radio communications. It isn't potentially going to have a harmful effect on us. If in fact that was the Shumann Resonance that happened after the Colombian earthquake, and we are all more open, aware, and ready for a level up, then this burst of energy from the sun would be that level up. So it is a full moon tonight. The crazies have been out today, can I tell you? And around the full moon, I always find the Masonic filth get much more active, I suppose, because they're out sacrificing a child or fucking a goat. And I better go out and count the goats. Make sure they're all okay tonight. We have a few on the property. Satanists and goats. God help us. So we shall endeavour to have a bit of fun. I'm going to go out and take some photos of the moon tonight because it is full. I'll also try and get a bit of video. I'm not sure how close I can get with video whether I get as close as I can taking a still image, but I will try very hard. And should that be the case, I will have that for you tomorrow evening, just to give you a bit of an idea of what the moon looks like. It is a beautiful night up here. It has been beautiful nights up here for the last few nights. And I noticed Callum in the chat earlier said something about hope everybody has in Queensland is enjoying the beautiful weather and everywhere else stay warm. Hey, Callum, yesterday was without doubt the coldest day I have ever spent in Queensland. In fact, the wind here yesterday was like a Melbourne midwinter wind, a lazy wind that just goes through you regardless what you're wearing, and you freeze your ass off. It has been cold, that kind of cold here for the last 2 or 3 days. Today, thankfully, the wind has dropped down a bit, but it's still been fairly brisk. Last night here, it was, when I went to bed, it was 8 degrees. When I got up, it was 4. And I was sleeping under 2 doonas, and I was in a pair of tracksuit pants, my flannelette pajamas, which God bless him, Black Sheep sent me. And I had a T-shirt on underneath that, and I was still cold. God, was it cold. But anyway, that's just part of the fun of life, the universe, and everything, I guess. I should have a bit of a scroll down. Rachel, you returned from your most amazeballs weekend, your 40th reunion. Oh, of course. I'm so pleased that went well for you. Sounds like you had a ball. The phone and the laptop refused to work. I found that happened in Tasmania a bit. Was it service or something else? Clayton, big fella, got your email. Going to email you back. And Debs, g'day to you too. Pete, I hope things are going well. Obviously, I've caught up with what you're feeding your animals in there. You've told everybody in the chat, but I hope you're getting a bit more rain. Or if you don't need it, I hope you're not getting it. But whatever you're doing, I hope the garlic is growing well, because I can't wait to partake in some more of that. Rachel, silver's finally back, surpassed what you paid for it, thank God. Well, you're in the green now, or in the red, that's how that worked. And Vince, I was talking to today, he's pretty happy about it too. Spaz, I sent you a text, I'll catch up with you shortly, but I trust all's going well. You didn't get the free accommodation in the Royal Hotel today. I'm pleased to hear that, mate. I really am. I don't think they actively want to give you that free accommodation. Probably because your story is one that could put a lot of them in the same hole. And that story we will tell. One day we will tell. Thank you, Paul. Yes, the Shumann Resonance, it's moving in all ways, Don't forget, folks, if you are having problems with the bowel movement, LifeWave patches work well for that too. I can vouch for the X39s in that regard. I don't know, they work for most other things. Why wouldn't they work for that? I haven't got one on now, but I will be putting one on shortly. My left shoulder has been playing up really badly, and I cannot tell you, folks, I cannot tell you how fast, for me, these things work. Over the weekend, I managed to put my neck out, and I've had rather debilitating neck and shoulder pain for the last few days. So, like a true idiot, I didn't put on a LifeWave patch until last night. Instead, I faffed about with little massages and a rolled up towel and trying to pop something back into my back and twist my head and move my neck and bang. And all in all, went to bed with a stiff back and buggered neck for the last 3 nights, basically. Last night, put on a patch. Woke up this morning, no pain in my shoulder particularly. It was the first full night I've had while I felt I was cold. It was when I woke up. I didn't wake up all night. That's the first full night I've slept through, and I don't know how long. So yeah, I had one of the best night's sleep I've had in forever. and there was no pain in my shoulder. I normally sleep on my left shoulder, and this pain that I get in it makes it much harder to sleep that way. That pain was gone within 10 minutes, and I was in bed and never even thought about it while I was going to sleep, much less when I woke up. I took that one, I think I took that patch off at about 10 o'clock this morning, and I've let the body have a bit of a rest, but I'll put another one on tonight. And that one will go on the back of my neck, because from there I get real benefit in relaxing the muscles down the back and sides of my neck and down into my shoulders. That works for me. I don't have anything major. Guru's currently working with the X39 patches. He's putting them on his jaw. He told me last time we were talking about it, he really believed, like us all, we feel a tingling in the bit that, you know, seems like it needs a bit of work in our bodies. And he felt that. He didn't know that, you know, that's the kind of stuff we talk about occasionally. He didn't realize that he would feel anything, and we didn't coach him, or I didn't coach him towards feeling it. He brought it up himself. So prayers for Guru that all makes a significant difference to his situation with what he's dealing with there on his lip. So fingers crossed. I don't think he's been on him a month yet. So something that serious is going to take a little while. And that's what I would urge you to remember. If you are dealing with really significant problems, if you are on opioid medications and that sort of stuff, then that's not going to help you. If you are a heavy drinker, these things aren't going to help you. Alcohol naturally kills anything good in your bloodstream. So even having a couple of glasses of wine is enough to really null any effects that the patches would have. So I would counsel you not to bother if that's you. However, if you're, not a everyday kind of drinker, or you're not a drinker at all, and you do suffer this pain, and you do have other medications, then try this. Try and wean yourself off those opioids, because they're not good for you, not in any way, shape, or form. And test these theories by doing that. Put one of these patches on, see whether or not you really do need the next tablet. And fingers crossed for you, it won't be. I've got to tell you, the amount of these patches that I've given out to people who have expressed absolute amazement in how they felt, 24 hours after putting them on, staggers me. And a lot of those people have joined and are now, regular users of them. I urge you to give them a go. It costs you, less than a cup of coffee a day to do it, really. And it could change your life. Really could. You can get the link from our description for the X39s, or I can briefly bang it up here as a crawl across the bottom. So if you go to lifewave.com/VOF/enrollments/packs and buy out through there, you will give me a little bit of a donation, and I mean it's only tiny, but you, I hope, will get the best benefit of some very healthy solution to what ails you, and take your pain away, because God help us, that's what we all want and need. I'm just going to scroll down, have a look at a few more comments, see if I've missed any questions. I'm so glad, Rachel, that your reunion went well. It sounds like you had an absolute ball, and I'm wrapped. Got to admit, school reunion's not really my thing. Although, no, probably not really my thing. Especially college I went to in Hamilton. I've never been invited to one of those reunions, because I'm pretty sure they'd like to forget that I was ever there. And they'd probably like me to forget that I was ever there. But that's all part of the fun of life. That's what's going around. Quake of about 5.1 below Perth out in the Indian Ocean. There are a lot of volcanoes under the sea. There is a group of 24 of them around Italy, believe it or not, and they are waking up. They're not erupting. They're not throwing out lava. What they are doing is venting, smoke vents and ash vents and whatnot into the ocean floors. So there has been a little bit more action there. Stromboli has been reasonably active in the recent past, and what is happening is the micro tremors. I guess that is probably the biggest concern. I don't know a great deal about geology and how tectonic plates shifting will affect. Well, we all know how they're going to affect the likes of earthquakes and volcanoes to a certain extent. None of us, I don't think, have ever experienced in our lifetime an earthquake of truly immense proportions, although Mount St. Helens probably comes closest, and that rather unpronounceable one in Iceland, although very few people were endangered by it because it's in Iceland. It did stop world air traffic for some days from memory because of the ash cloud that circumnavigated the Earth. If we do get a lot of volcanoes going off at the same time, they don't have to be super huge ones for very large ash clouds to circle the Earth. Multiple, if Ethiokel or whatever it's called in Iceland could shut down the world, then what would happen if 4 or 5 of these things went off in different parts of the north and southern hemispheres? Then the sun would certainly go dim. They wouldn't need to be sending up planes for dimming, as they are now, encouraging the rain and the clouds, and then whatever else to fall down on us. So there you go, all sorts of little bits of food for thought for the night. South Australian coast should prepare for when nature says Spazza. What are you saying here, Spaz? South Australian coast. Well, South Australia. The most immediate volcano that comes to mind in South Australia is in Mount Gambier, commonly known as the Blue Lake. But there are significant lava tubes and other smaller volcanic outcrops, shall we say, all through the lower portion of southeast South Australia, and of course all the way from the border, all the way through Western Victoria. I'm unaware of any deep sea volcanoes in the Southern Ocean. There is, there are a number of sub-ocean volcanoes, and that's sub-sea floor. So they're not volcanoes on the bottom of the ocean. They are volcanoes under the bottom of the ocean. I think there's 3 in the Indian Ocean. One, as somebody mentioned earlier, isn't terribly far off Western Australia as the crow flies. It might be 5,000 kilometres or so. That is something that would affect us greatly if that went up in a significant way, so much so that the ash and smoke and whatnot was able to break through X amount of tens of thousands of feet of water and get out. Always knowing, of course, that volcanoes, when they create or go up, create new land. So probably not a land you want to live on, but new land for some time, if not a long time. Speaking of some time, but not a long time, I'm going to shoot off for tonight. There is a lot to be watching. If you are at all interested in watching the sun, then keep an eye out on the channels that you can get some pretty much live information from the sun watchers. If you are interested in watching the moon tonight, if you are in southeast Queensland at least, looks like it won't be a bad night to get some photos of it if you can get up close and personal, which I do intend to go out and do. And I'm also going to try and capture some stars. The reason for that is there's been a lot of evidence provided by others who have gone and filmed stars. Now, they are a lot further away than the moon, granted, but using these cameras, these P1000 cameras, you should at least be able to get a still image of a pinpoint of light, that being the star. You can't, as it turns out. Turns out that the image that you get is a shaking, almost diamond image. And I find that rather intriguing. So if I can get some photos of that, I will also show that to you tomorrow night too. Thursday night, Thursday, the show might be a little short and a little weird. I'll probably be doing the show from my phone. Depending on what Vince is doing, we might be able to hook something up through my phone for it. But if we are, it will be earlier than 6:30. Why is that? It's because I am having a daddy-daughter dinner. I haven't seen my daughter Laura for a few weeks, and we haven't had any time alone for ages. So I have to go to Brisbane on Thursday for other reasons, and I'm going to take that opportunity because she's been working pretty hard to go and catch up with her. And Connie, I don't know if you and Alan are watching tonight, but I'll give you guys a call. I'd like to catch up with you at some stage on Thursday afternoon, and Nevin, I'll try and maybe do the same with you. All things being equal in a beautiful world. So Thursday will be a little weird, and we'll see what happens. It might not, the show might be really late and very dark. You might just get me in a commentary as I drive home, but we will see what happens. Tomorrow, of course, in the lead up to Tim's show, we may have a little bit of discussion about what will be discussed there too. So if you want to get into Tim's third constitutional discussion, this is open to the public, and you can do so by emailing tim@ourtrueaustralia.com.au, I'm pretty sure. Hang on, let me just check that. I'll type it into my thing here. No, it's just .com, ourtrueaustralia.com. Beg your pardon, Tim. Ourtrueaustralia.com, and tim@ourtrueaustralia.com. Email him, tell him you'd like to be part of the show tomorrow night. If you are planning on being a troll, or if you are a troll and planning on being in the show, ho-hum. Evidence is going to be presented that shows the trolls for the kind of low humans they are. And when I say low, I don't mean, I mean snake-like, reptile-like. I mean gutless, weak, cowards. Low. There's no point in exhibiting how low your character really is to a group of people who want nothing more than to try and help contribute to a better nation for us all. By trolling us, by trying to come in and undermine, usurp, or steal audience, you are simply showing your true character. Weak, gutless, non-creative, ego-driven, fucktards. I was going through a lot of other things that didn't involve swearing, but that one really encompasses everything. You are just weak people, and there really is no hope for you unless you want to come and wake up. And, of course, you'll be greeted with open arms then. But while you exhibit your weakness and you choose to exhibit it publicly, I'm going to choose to point you out every time. And I hope others will as well. Division is not what we require. If your ego requires you to steal somebody else's audience or somebody else's idea, or sell your particular thing, the book you wrote, the fucking medal you struck, I don't care, whatever, T-shirts. I mean, okay, I'm probably being hypocritical. That's why I don't push hoodies and T-shirts very much. But you guys know we make nothing out of hoodies and T-shirts. These other people have a commercial interest in attracting your attention, and they use the mask of being one of us to get to you. And I find that low. I find that dishonorable for so many reasons, and in the face of everything that we the people deserve and are striving every day for ourselves. I hope you, like me, strive to act in honor. I hope you find it easier to tell the truth, even if that truth upsets people. I mean, I don't mean you tell truth so you can upset people. Don't use truth as a weapon. You don't have to use truth as a bullet. It doesn't need to be delivered like a hammer. Truth can be delivered subtly, with love, with friendship, and respect. Sadly, there will always be people who refute the truth, choose to see a different truth, or will make up their own truth. Watch for those people. Those people do not act in honor. They act in selfishness. They act in ego. They act in commerce. I'm sick to death of them getting into our freedom movement and splitting us. They're as bad as the Freemasons. I don't think they are Freemasons, but they act like Freemasons. Tim's going to name a few of them tomorrow night. It's going to be a very good show. You should be part of it. Tim at ourtrueaustralia.com will make you get your invite for the show. Just before I play the outro tonight, I'm getting a lot of comments. There are a lot of new people who are joining, and thank you very much for those of you who have signed up for the subscription, or subscribe, not subscription. A lot of comments about the show opener and particularly the show closer. You might remember, some of you who've been with me for a while might remember that I built a new show closer a while ago. It only got run, I think, 2 nights before the complaints that I had that the old closer had to come back. So, and that is the closer that I use out of Ants, bits and pieces, the speech I use out of Ants. And never has it been more true. That speech is a speech to all of humanity. So thank you to those people who recognize it. Thank you for your kind comments. And no, I have no plans on changing it anytime soon. Although I did look back through a number of the old openers that I made for the show. I currently like the Ronald Reagan one pretty much. And I'm a bit dodgy on where Trump is in the world with a lot of things at the moment. So looking deeply into what's going on there. There are some strange decisions being made, things that certainly fly in the face of everything I thought we were fighting for. But that'll be something I probably have a discussion with Vince, maybe Friday night. That'll be pretty cool. Look forward to seeing you tomorrow night, though. Be safe if you are out and about. And, we're importing, I think it's something, God, I've forgotten the figure. I think it's close to 17,000 Indians a day, or 17,000 immigrants a day. More ants than you know, hey folks.
You let one ant stand up to us, then they all might stand up. Those puny little ants outnumber us 100 to 1. And if they ever figure that out, there goes our way of life. It's not about food. It's about keeping those ants in line. That's why we're going back! Does anybody else want to stay? Let's ride!